Hey, how's it going, guys? In this video, I want to discuss a question that I get asked quite frequently, and that is, as a freelance videographer, should you focus on and specialize in just one industry or niche and just shoot weddings or only shoot music videos? Or is it a smarter business move to diversify your portfolio and offer services in a wide variety of industries? What are the pros and cons to each strategy, and which way can you make more money? Let's dive in. So I have my opinions on this topic and I'll share them with you, but I wanted to see what you guys think, which way is more popular, and the different ways that different students are making both work. So I did a poll in the Facebook group asking all of you which approach you take in your business and why, and how financially successful your approach has been, and here's a few insights from that data. First off, we had about a 2-to-1 ratio of people who are choosing to diversify over specialize. So if you're wondering which direction is a more popular choice, it looks like more people are choosing to diversify, but does that equate to more money, or are there other reasons why people choose to diversify over specialize? So let's take a look at a few of the comments from this post. First, let's look at those who specialize. Our first example here is Andrew. He specializes in shooting only weddings and made about $60,000 his first year, around $90,000 his second year, and is currently doing $120,000 in revenue, and feels confident he could even hit the $200,000 mark if he packed his schedule, but he chooses not to and instead prioritize his family and his health. So this is a great example of someone specializing and being very successful financially. Another example of specializing is Josh Sales, who specializes in mostly music videos and did about $70,000 last year and is on track to do $120,000 this year. He chooses to specialize because he feels by mastering music videos, it gives him a competitive advantage over his competitors. He does, however, do an occasional wedding or real estate video to fill in gaps in his schedule. So about 10% of his income does come from other videos other than music videos. So I'd call this majoring in one field and then minoring in a second or third. So pretty specialized with some slight diversity. Another student, Thomas Brown, specializes in real estate and said he's made about 50 grand in the past 8 months, which if he keeps that up will be around $75,000 on the year. Another student, Danielle Diamond, is doing over $250,000 a year doing 100% commercial work, so completely specialized. And another completely specialized student, Marius Serban, is claiming $400,000 a year doing lifestyle product photography. So specializing is definitely proving for many students to provide them with great incomes as they master a very specific craft, get deeply rooted into a network in that industry, and ride the momentum of that one train rather than trying to ride a bunch of trains and hopping on and off. So financial success and mastering a specific craft are definitely pros of a specializer, but I'd say the biggest cons to specializing would be monotony of the work and potentially job security. One reason I wouldn't ever choose to specialize personally, and many of the students voiced this same concern in the post, that we get bored of shooting the same type of video every week, which leads to burnout, fatigue, creative funks, and just overall lower job satisfaction. So if you're going to specialize, I'd say choose wisely and make sure you really love shooting that one type of video. It can't just be something that you can deal with because it pays well. It has to be something you love, or else you'll just get sick of it real quick. And that's what I've found with most specializers, is that they really do love shooting that specific type of video, so it doesn't get monotonous to them. The other downside to specializing is what we experienced last year during the worldwide pandemic. Many industries got shut down. Weddings didn't happen for about 6 months. Many restaurants and local businesses got shut down. Real estate videos were put on hold for a bit. Events in general were gone for a year. So in the event of an economic shift, what will you do if you specialize in, say, weddings, and all your weddings get postponed for a year? Can you go a year without shooting weddings and making money with that? Many of our students who used to specialize found themselves diversifying during the pandemic and opened up new sources of revenue, as most can't afford to go 6 to 12 months without work. So this is a great argument to at least have a minor to your major so that you have something to fall back on in case of a famine. And most industries in general are seasonal. Weddings and real estate are usually warmer weather industries, whereas commercials or music videos can usually be shot year round. So if you do specialize in an industry that has a slower season, might be smart to minor in a second or third industry that tends to stay strong during your major's slow season. But let's now look at some who are having success with diversifying and why they choose that route. One of our most successful students in the group is Adam Grumbo. Now, he didn't share his financials, but he is one of the higher paid videographers in our group, and he said his workload is split about 40% weddings, 30% corporate, and 30% working as a DP for other people's productions. And I believe he started out mostly doing weddings, but has since found a pretty even split between 3 different industries that are all good money makers, and named corporate jobs as his biggest money maker, but weddings as his most consistent work that he can depend on. Charles Roach, who is another one of our higher paid members of the group, gave us the following breakdown: 40% real estate at around $90,000 a year, 30% weddings at $70,000 $70,000 a year, 20% commercials at $46,000 a year, and about 10% drone inspections at $23,000 a year. And he mentioned that he started out at doing 100% weddings. So in my estimation, Charles probably started turning down the lower paying wedding clients to make room for him to explore new industries, and once he had established himself in a new industry, again, started only taking the highest paying clients to make room for him to explore a new industry, and now has 4 major industries that he only takes the highest paying clients in and can afford to turn down the lower paying clients of each industry because he's diversified and there's a lot of work coming through each vein. But you usually can't turn down work with the same confidence with just one industry because you usually can't fill up a schedule with just one industry. The 1%ers, the most talented, usually can, but most usually can't. So that's one of the biggest pros to diversifying in general, is you have less seasons of famine. And another big pro for me, and as mentioned by many on this thread, is that when we do the same type of work over and over again, we get burned out, fatigued, and find ourselves getting in those creative ruts. So if you specialize in something that you don't really love, then it will show through in your work, which will ultimately lead to your work not being as good as it could be, which means you won't stand out as much from the competition. So again, important to find what you truly love doing, and that will lead to you doing your best work, which will lead to you getting higher paying clients. And some of you will love just doing one industry, but I'd say most creatives will find that they need at least 1 or 2 minors to their major to break from that monotony and keep them at their creative best. Now, on a personal level, I do choose and recommend to diversify. I started out dabbling in all types of videos for the first 6 months, and I was barely scraping by, just trying to build a business and learn videography in general. And if I could go back, I'd probably focus on just one, probably weddings, until I was producing good income, and then start branching out to new areas. But 6 months into my career, I got scooped up and hired by Devin Supertramp, and for about 3 years with him, I was doing only adventure and travel content for his YouTube channel. And I did a lot of it, filming and editing basically 1 or 2 videos every week for 3 years. And about 100 videos in, I started getting burnt out and looking for a change of scenery. As fun and amazing as those videos were to film, even filming what most people would die to film, after doing it too much, I didn't love it enough to not get fatigued. I wanted to push myself creatively in new ways, so I eventually quit and started my own production company. And in the first year of my own production company, my workload split looked something like this. In 2016, I did about 4 DP gigs shooting on someone else's production for a corporate company and made about $40,000 on those 4 projects. I also did 4 commercials at about $25,000, about 8 music videos at $20,000, 4 real estate videos at $10,000, 2 events at $10,000, and about 5 weddings at $5,000, all low budget because they were for family, and 2 sports videos at $5,000, bringing my total for my first year to around $115,000 for about 30 videos. And as you can see, this is one of the more diversified splits compared to most of our students who usually find just 2 or 3 to focus on. Now, within that first year, I also made 40 video tutorials and launched Full-Time Filmmaker, which ended up making me about $100,000 in that first year as well, and eventually has grown so much faster than my production company that I never got to see what a second year would have been like, and honestly didn't even know what a full first year would have been like because I spent half of that first year building Full-Time Filmmaker. But I proved that even with half of my time going to my production company, I was able to make 6 figures a year, and then obviously began focusing my energy from then on teaching people how I did that with Full-Time Filmmaker. So my split now looks much different. I don't take hardly any clients as I focus most of my time on building my other business ventures like Full-Time Filmmaker, Course Creator Pro, FTF Gear, VidLeague, Golf Loft, and so on. I do still take clients from time to time, but mostly just the higher paying ones and the most fun ones that I like we'll usually take one Hyundai shoot once a year for around a $25,000 budget. I'll usually do one with LG every year, and we usually do one $10,000 sponsorship integration in a YouTube video every month. And earlier this year, we did a 2 video commercial deal for a big company for a $40,000 budget. So the work I take looks much different now, as client-based video isn't my biggest moneymaker anymore, so it wouldn't make sense for me to do a lot of it, but I do enough to stay in the game and create teaching content for Full-Time Filmmaker. But had I not built so many other successful businesses outside of my production company, I feel confident that I could be doing around $200,000 plus a year, and my guess would be that I probably would have focused on commercials and DPing for other production companies, as I find those to be the most creatively enjoyable, as I love marketing and advertising, and those brought in the most money for me as well. I definitely would have stopped doing weddings altogether like I have, because I don't like them, even if they are good money makers, and then I'd probably do a few events, a few music videos, and a few real estate videos as my minor focuses. So in summary, even though there are many succeeding as specializers, I still think it's smart to have at least 1 or 2 minors to your major and give yourself at least some diversity. Even if 80 or 90% of your work is just one industry, I think you'll find that the occasional creative break in a different industry will keep your creativity fresh, make your job satisfaction go up, push you to learn and grow in new areas, which should make you a better overall filmmaker and ultimately allow you to make more money by having more options available during all seasons. So that's my 2 cents. I do, however, think that you can make great money both ways, as many of our students have proven, but I feel that the ceiling is a little bit higher for those who diversify. I do think it's harder to successfully diversify though, as it requires a lot more growth and learning and developing in a lot more areas. But once you become a top dog in one industry, I think it's pretty easy to at least maintain while also developing in some new industries. But that does require more work and effort and sacrificing time away from family and personal health and other things. So again, comes down to a lifestyle decision as well. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. You can be successful both ways, just got to choose what suits you and your lifestyle and your passions best. Now, having analyzed where people are having success, it was no surprise to me to see that weddings were at the top of a lot of people's lists of industries where they can make the most money. Now, if you're lucky, you'll end up loving shooting weddings, and your passion and where you can make the most money can align nicely. That's not the case for everyone, however, me included, but it's no secret that even if you hate weddings, they are a great place to start out, as the demand is almost always there, barring a pandemic, and the money is great as most weddings have high budgets. So as far as ranking industries from most likely to make good money as a videographer, I'd put weddings at number 1. Then I'd probably put commercial and corporate work second, which usually includes DPing for other people's productions. And I actually think there's even more money to be made in commercial work versus weddings, but it is harder to break into. Then third, I'd probably put real estate. Pretty easy to break into, but hard to find consistent high-paying clients. But I would consider real estate a great minor to anyone's major. Very low stress and easy money. Music videos, I'd probably put fourth. Some are proving to make great money just doing music videos, and I always found it to be a very consistent moneymaker for me and something I really enjoyed. Fifth on the list, I'd probably put events. There's actually great money to be made in events, but again, a bit harder to break into. And then lower on the list, I'd put travel content. Everyone wants to shoot travel content, but it's pretty tough to find someone to pay you to do it. Now, this list isn't exact and it's not exclusive. In a more general order, obviously there's loads of other industries that can all be big money makers. Some students are making big money in product videos, drone inspections, online course videos, working for YouTubers like I did for Devin, working just as an editor, working as a side photographer to your video, and so on. Ultimately, I think everyone should explore as many different avenues as possible to discover what you're best at meets what you enjoy doing. And once you find that, I would focus most of your energy in developing and mastering your skills in that industry. And then once you feel like you have a solid financial footing in that major, I'd personally recommend branching out and developing some minors that you can add to your portfolio. Unless, of course, you're just so swamped and making so much money and love doing so much that one industry, then it might make sense to stick to that 100%. But those cases are rare. So for the majority of us, I recommend at least a little diversification. But that's it, folks. Hope this video was helpful in giving you some insights on what I've done, what many others are doing to be successful in the video industry. Again, no right or wrong answer to this. Depends on you, what you love, what you want for your lifestyle. But thanks for watching. If you have any further questions, please let me know.